there, YouTube. Heir of Carthage here, coming to you from the Monkey Bay map, which is one of the naval battle maps that you can play on. You can see my navy amassing here, and then off in the misty distance, you can see an enemy navy looming. And my opponent over there is Can Critter RW, and he is a 10-star. Now, in a naval battle, that doesn't mean near as much because, they can't use retainers and stuff, really, in naval battles. And just to be quite honest, I really don't like naval battles. I'm just doing them because I'm trying to conquer all the naval provinces on the Avatar map. I have conquered all of the land, all the land area, and so I just need to finish conquering the naval area, and I'll be done. So let me explain to you a little bit about naval battles and the reason why I don't like them. The reason is because there's pretty much only two types of armies you can bring, or two types of navy, sorry. You can bring a navy with a little bit of variation, i.e. cannon bunets and the Nihon Maru, which is kind of like a big battleship of sorts. You have to bring your general's heavy bunet. So you can bring that and then siege bunets, or you can bring all siege bunets and pretty much hope that that's going to win the fight for you. So yeah, if you don't bring one of those two navies, you're almost certainly going to get your butt kicked. I say almost certainly because I don't want to rule out any possibilities, but it's true that you're almost certainly going to get your butt kicked. Because the siege tower bunets and the cannon bunets are so deadly effective. And then the Nihon Maru, the reason why it's effective is it can inspire your fleet, and you can just keep pushing the repair button, and you pretty much can't rout it. So, I mean, you can. I've seen people do it. You can board it with another Nihon Maru and get it routed, but I mean, it's pretty much hard to rout. And so that's the reason why people like to bring it, myself included. I like to bring it in order to help protect my Admiral's heavy bunet, because to be honest, your Admiral's heavy bunet is probably one of the weakest ships in the fleet, in my opinion, and it can get routed like incredibly easy. Okay, so the strategy I use in naval battles is pretty simple. I usually run my cannon bunets in the center and just use them to lay down fire, and then I'll put my siege bunets out on the flanks, and they can lay down a whole lot of damaging fire. And then I usually keep my Nihon Maru in the back, and my General's Bunet in the back also, in order to try and avoid conflicts with other ships. Alright, I quit recording for a second, but you're not missing anything. This is a pretty long battle. You can see that I move through these islands, and for some reason, my opponent is just like sailing away from me. I think he's trying to get these cannon bunets around and maybe take some shots at my general, which I did notice. So I started moving my siege bunets back in that direction to help cover for my general. So most people never take their ships off of fire at will. I don't know why people don't try and micromanage the naval fights more, because like I said, this is a 10-star, and they probably can. And here's another thing I'll just go ahead and talk about while we're watching the battle. I played pretty much nothing but 10 stars all weekend, which is good and bad. Good because it gives me the opportunity to play against some tough armies, and I don't think I won any land battles against the 10 stars this weekend, so I'm sure I destroyed my ranking. Not that it was anything spectacular anyway. And I have to be honest, CA needs to do a little bit of patching on some of the I guess character traits. I don't know if this has happened to any of you all, but I played one land battle against a 10-star, and the only thing he had in his army was Ashigaru, and well, he had a couple of Yari Cab, but he only had Spear Ashigaru as his army force. So I think there was like 5 of them, and they had 4 chevrons. But you know, I have like 6 chevron Yari Ashigaru, and I've seen them in battle. They still rout pretty similar to what they did whenever they were new, without any chevrons. So they're not anything spectacular. But I guess this general has some kind of trait or some kind of character thing unlocked, to where when I was in a skirmishing duel, I had 4 bow warrior monks. He had 4 bow Ashigaru with no chevrons, and his bow Ashigaru straight up won the fight. Now, I have fought bow warrior monks with bow Ashigaru before, and my bow Ashigaru had like 4 chevrons, and after 2 volleys, my bow Ashigaru were routed, and that was with several chevrons. One of his units literally had 1 man left in it, and it was not wavering. And then when I fought his infantry, I charged downhill, like big time downhill. Like he came up a hill because I had to go hide in the woods to get away from his invincible bows. So yeah, I had to go hide in the woods, and I was like way up on the top of a hill, and I charged down into his Yari Ashigaru, with my 4 chevron katana samurai, and his Yari Ashigaru didn't just beat my katana samurai, they mopped the floor with my katana samurai, and didn't lose over half their troops. And to me, that's another thing that didn't really seem possible. And I have to say, like, I mean, if he was not modding, then CA definitely needs to patch something there, because you can't have Ashigaru armies beating, you know, good elite sword troops just because your general is good. I mean, that's kind of wholly unrealistic. So part of my upsettedness this weekend as I was playing some of these land battles against 10 stars was that some of the 10 stars were very good players, and they beat me using good strategies, and I have absolutely no problem with that. You know, when I get beat by someone who's just better, there's nothing to be ashamed of. No one should be mad about that, and I certainly wasn't. You know, it's always frustrating because I want to win, but it certainly doesn't make me mad. So, in any case, what makes me mad though is when someone like that guy played. He used terrible strategy. He just marched right at me. He didn't envelop, he didn't flank, he didn't do anything special, just marched right at me. I used good strategy, he used poor strategy, and he won the battle just through strength of upgrades, basically, because of his 10-star general. That's the kind of stuff that kind of hacks me off. I don't think that when you're using horrible strategy like that you ought to end up winning the fight, and I kind of think CA needs to tone down some of the level up abilities in order to make sure that that's not the case. Because when someone marches up a hill at your elite katana samurai with a pretty mediocre Yari Ashigaru and wins the fight, it kind of defeats the purpose of having all those nice units in the game. And when you have Bow Ashigaru, who costs 500 koku, who can beat 1,000 koku bow warrior monks, then that's also kind of ridiculous. And so the CA needs to do something about that. But in any case, let's get back to the naval battle. That's my land battle discussion. Just wanted to bring that up. If some of you have some comments on that, if I'm misunderstanding something, you know, it's fine. Lay it on me. If you have experienced something similar, you know, leave it in the comments. I'm definitely interested to see what you'll have to say about it. Now here, I'm running down my opponent's cannon bunets with my siege tower bunets. There's only certain ships that are very effective against the cannon bunet, and the siege tower bunets are one of those ships. And a lot of times they'll get routed pretty easy, but a lot of times they also come back into the fight. So here, you know, he's loading cannon shots into this one and it routes, but I'm just going to keep chasing him because my opponent's really, in my opinion, making a really stupid move here. He's got his cannon bunets very singled out and very much out on their own, and if you can get cannon bunets out on their own and shoot them up with a siege tower bunet, then they will die actually pretty quick. So that's actually my hope. And then right here he's got another one of his ships singled out, and it's an Oataka bunet, sorry. This ship is actually made for boarding operations because it has a lot of samurai on board, but it also has a pretty good number of archers, so it's an all-around pretty tough ship. But when it comes to arrows versus matchlock units in naval battles, arrows are really only effective if you can have the flaming arrow ability, which I do not believe this ship has. So you're going to see my matchlock ship is sitting here like tearing armor and stuff off the side of this and killing his men, whereas his arrows are just coming over and occasionally killing my men, and they don't have any effect on my ship whatsoever. So that's why I find these siege tower bunets to be actually kind of overpowered. But the reason why I bring them, some of you might be saying, well, Eric, why do you bring them? It's kind of cheap. Well, it's because if you don't bring them and your opponent does, then you're screwed. And so there's no way I was coming to a naval battle without these guys. So in any case, you can see that this Oataka boon, even though it has way more men than my siege tower bunet, is just getting absolutely thrashed. And I only have one siege tower bunet within range too. So that'll kind of give you an idea of how well... Oh yeah, check it out. I caught one of his cannon bunets here and it surrendered. You can see that my siege tower bunets will make pretty short work in close range to cannon bunets, so you can't let siege tower bunets get close to your cannon bunet. So yeah, you can see my opponent's other cannon bunet is, you know, way off back there. That was one thing I disagreed. My opponent split his forces all the way across the map, which I don't usually recommend in a naval battle because your guys can actually rout pretty easy if you let them get split up. And another reason I don't like the naval battles is because they're incredibly slow. You might be able to tell that so far. Like, they take forever. Especially when your opponent is doing what my opponent does here, which is like just running around all over the place. You know, one ship here, one ship there. You got to chase everything down. You can see that my I'm actually going to show you this action real quick. My 3 siege tower bunets are tracking in on his cannon bunet that is just back here firing at one of my ships that's already routing. So I really can't say I understand my opponent's strategy there. I don't think it was very smart, because now he's got 3 of these siege tower bunets that are singling him out. and we're going to watch the damage that my guys are able to deal out to him. Again, for some reason, the Siege Tower Bunei is even more so than Matchlock Kabaya. I know a Matchlock Kabaya is a smaller ship, but these Siege Tower Bunei seem to cause like a lot of hull damage to enemy ships, which is pretty nice because most units in Shogun 2 naval battles don't cause a lot of hull damage, I mean, other than this cannon ship. So you can see him, he's just trying to run the cannon ship away, but I'm using like my special abilities and stuff to keep up with him. And you can see the armor getting torn off of there, and it actually destroys some of his guns every now and then. Like, he's lost 2 guns. You can see that by me mousing over. So there's some of the close-up action, what that looks like. So you can see that these Siege Tower Buneis will make absolutely short work of a cannon Bunei. Another way to kill these things is with the bow Kabaya. You can, look, I just rammed them right there. You can also use matchlock, bow Kabayas to try and catch these things on fire. But bow Kabayas route really easy. And when you're playing a large funds naval battle, bringing a bow Kabaya is kind of a waste because you can't upgrade it, and chances are it's just going to rout, and then you're left with one less ship. So here, right there, I did manage to rout this cannon Bunei, and I've got my 2 other Siege Tower Buneis who are gonna work over this Oataka Bunei. The Oataka ship looks cool in my opinion. It's kind of a neat ship, and I think that naval battles on Shogun 2 would be more fun if CA would release a patch that kind of rebalances things to where these bow ships aren't so worthless, and to where boarding actions are a little more possible. I think it would make the whole thing a lot more fun. I remember how I said when your Siege Tower Buneis route, they come back a lot of times. This one already did once, and so he's still chasing it, but now I'm going to close in on him from the rear with these 2 Siege Tower Buneis. You can see that these guys will wreak quite a bit of damage. And there's only like 40 missile troops to start with on these Siege Tower Buneis, so a lot of people think they're pretty weak ships, but look what I did to the side of this one. Just there real quick, they're just absolutely shredding it. And I don't know why the matchlock fire from the Siege Tower Bunei is so effective, but it is. It's incredibly effective versus even much larger ships. And it seems like their morale is pretty good for being such small ships too. I don't know why that is. My opponent shouldn't be doing anything with this Oataka Bunei, sorry, except for trying to board my Nihon Maru. I think that would be the best use for this type of ship. So let's take a look elsewhere on the battle. Both of my cannon Buneis are still alive, and right here they're smashing one of his heavy Buneis. So this is, I don't really recommend bringing these heavy Buneis. I think they're kind of crappy ships. So yeah, I mean they have a pretty good balance of missile troops and samurai troops, but they're really not that good, and they're pretty slow. And you know, a couple of shots from a cannon Bunei can actually rout one if they're well-placed shots. And see, this one's getting hammered from both sides. So I really don't recommend bringing these things to a battle. Now, naval battles, though, vary greatly. If you don't have access to Siege Tower Buneis and cannon Buneis, I wouldn't even play a naval battle, as you're probably going to get thrashed, unless you're playing someone at your own level, or unless you host one on the games list and you set certain rules. And the reason I say that is because it is extremely difficult to win these kind of fights unless you have the right kind of navy. So check it out here. My Admiral's ship and my Nihon Maru are attacking his Nihon Maru. This is probably the largest and most expensive ship on Shogun 2. You can see my guys here going in for the boarding action. I'll let you watch that. And I'm also shooting his ship with cannon fire in order to help demoralize. You definitely want to help demoralize this Nihon Maru ship, because otherwise mine would be pretty evenly matched with his own. So there you can see the guys jumping back and forth, doing the boarding action. Those guys are getting some sweet air. Wanted to try out for the basketball team. So yeah, that's what it looks like when you board an enemy ship. Again, not overly exciting, at least not in my opinion. Try and get closer here, but the camera shakes around a lot. So that's pretty much what it looks like. Your men are just going to jump to the other ship like that, kind of like Michael Jordan. I wonder if they had like sandals back then that were like Air Jordans. Yeah, so I mean, you can see this Nihon Maru can take a pounding as far as hull damage is concerned, because both of my cannon Buneis are lighting it up on this side. And you can... oh yeah, I forgot, that's where the battle ends. My bad. I was kind of surprised there for a minute, as surprised as you. My opponent conceded defeat when he saw his Nihon Maru being defeated, and I had defeated his other ships. So he conceded defeat, which is kind of nice of him, not making me track down all of his other ships. But anyway, there was a look into some naval fight, and then also my discussion on 10 stars. Now, again, don't get me wrong. If people went out and earned a 10 star, that's great. But another way that you can earn a 10 star, well, I say you can get almost 10 stars just by playing the game a whole bunch, because eventually you're going to win enough games to get ranked up. And that's okay. I mean, I think it kind of levels the playing field between players who are very good naturally and players who are just good at leveling up and being good that way. Now, to get the 10th star, I've heard you have to get into like the top 50 or something, so that would definitely not be an easy task. So, I mean, you definitely have to earn that 10th star, but I still think that there's some issue that CA needs to work out so that it's kind of fair rather than just you being able to just walk right through someone just because you're 10th star. You should still have to fight to win battles. But in any case, I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll bring you some non-Shogun 2 footage later today. I just wanted to go ahead and put up some naval footage since some of you have been clamoring for it for so long, so hope you enjoyed it.